Y'all remember how everybody was excited to have a black anime? Well, I do too. The anime I want to talk about of today, right, that is honestly that I just thought about was being like the biggest flop of the year, because with a lot of flops this week such as the Cowboy Bebop live action, I started thinking about some anime flops that we had this year as well. And the first thing that comes up to my mind is Yasuke. Like, Yasuke was such a big flop, bro. Like, I don't think people, like, stand to realize or reflect back on, like, that anime was so hyped as being, like, whoa, like, a real, like, anime studio is making a real black anime, and they're gonna actually, like, respect the character, and it's gonna be a real big win for us. Like, the flop that anime had that nobody was talking about it after it dropped, like, was completely ridiculous to me, bro. And like, the only time that I saw people actually talking about Yasuke the anime was when, like, the whole couple of weeks leading up to it, plus like the one day that it dropped. After that, it was dead. Like, it was dead as a cricket's noise, for real, for real. But for those of you that piece of people that don't know, let me give you a quick history / summary. Yasuke was this anime that was supposed to be a biopic about this real life person also named Yasuke. And Yasuke was this black samurai that people like loved and talked about all the time because like he was just a really cool figure in history, because I don't think y'all piece of people realize like a black person being in Japan back in like the 1800s and all that, that's huge. And on top of that, them being a samurai and them not being a slave, that's even huger, and that's what Yasuke was, right? And so like Yasuke was something that like had a name that had a little bit of buzz around it, is like something that wanted to get adapted. Like even a couple like actors here and there were supposed to adapt Yasuke into a real person. Like there were even like whispers about Chadwick Boseman at one point, God rest his soul, being like a main actor to bring Yasuke in real life to the big screen. But you know, obviously like Chadwick Boseman passed away, and you know, the whole Yasuke project kind of fizzled out. But there was Netflix that adapted the Yasuke name, and they were gonna use Yasuke into an anime format in order to basically, you know, like give some clout to Yasuke and adapt this really cool story about a black guy that came up and became a samurai that was raw as hell. So with Netflix basically getting the name, right, people were getting hyped because, you know, like Netflix is a huge company that can like give a lot of funding, and Netflix has been adapting anime for a minute, some hits, some misses, but overall Netflix, they have a decent kind of like background with anime. So with them adapting Yasuke, it was basically hoping for that the name Yasuke was gonna be in good hands, and that like a lot of people were really getting hyped for this, and a lot of people were basically learning about Yasuke because Netflix had announced it, and they were getting ready to, you know, like really see the story of Yasuke fully animated and put out there on a main like screen audience for the very first time since never. But when they did, oh bro, God, I had to cough because that was such a big flop. Like, I'm talking genuinely, like nobody liked it. Like, it was one of those things that like instead of like doing what they should have, right, which would have been cool to do a whole like anime biopic with great animation on the story of Yasuke and make him look as cool as possible while staying true to the story and who he was, instead they put magic and they put mechs into the story of Yasuke, a black samurai, basically turning him from like an actual person in the folklore. And it's like, why would you even do this when you know what the people wanted? What would have been smart, what would have been accurate, and like even more respectful to the story would have been to like actually adapt this man into like a real person. Like, we have Afro Samurai, right, where it's just a dude with a sword, a black dude with a sword with an afro going around chopping up people, and it doesn't even require all that. I think it has some like majestic elements, but not even a lot like that. It's mostly just hands, and that's what we wanted with Yasuke, and we did not get it. It's not even like a situation where like the animation is bad or anything, right? Because like it looks decent, right? It's like that weird little 3D / like 2D mix or whatever. Like, it's cool, it's okay. Like, it's not bad. Like, if Yasuke was like that and it still adapted it like, you know, more like historically accurate, nobody would have had a problem. But like, I think it's the fact that like what was the point in giving this man like all this magic and mechs and all that? Like, what does that add to the true real life story of Yasuke? Like, what? I just don't get what you even gain from like making this in the way that y'all decided to make it. Like, who in the creative board was like, yo, we got a cool black samurai, we don't even have to juice up his story like that, we just gotta make him throw hands with cool animation and we'll be good, but let's give him magic and mechs. Like, what sense does that make, bro? And he has to protect like this little girl. Like, it just completely flips the story of Yasuke on his head to like, I would have rather them give us like the biopic with like more of an adapted story with bad animation than to like have this with like decent animation but like a story that doesn't even make sense to the character that we're trying to see. Like, it's just weird, bro. Like, I just don't get why Netflix went out of their way to like just fumble the bag like this, because I guarantee you people would have wanted more seasons, some more episodes to see Yasuke like really like go down, because you know, like, feeding to a black audience that wants to see somebody in anime format that's black look cool, that's an easy bag right there, bro. Like, you see how big Boondocks blew up when you had Huey throwing hands with like adults and with nunchucks and all that. Like, you really had it in the bag and you just really threw it all away, bro. Like, this is one of the biggest fumbles I've seen like Netflix have in a minute, bro. Like, Yasuke was like a ridiculous flop. And honestly, I kind of hope that Netflix kind of like learned their lesson, because like they could have really had a big money maker on their hands if they didn't flop like that. And I'm pretty sure nobody else is gonna like PB Yasuke for the rest of the year, even like go out of their way to go and find Yasuke, because like, I'm gonna be honest, like the anime was like, it was cool, but it wasn't what was wanted or expected. And even now it's still like not like that, you know. I feel like they could have really done well. They created one of the biggest flops of anime of 2021. And yeah, basically, Netflix, I hope you do better. But until next time, let me know if you enjoyed this, pizza people. My name is Time Pizza, and I will see you pizza people on the other side of the slice. Peace.